So I have 3 bosses here, and I'll try to think of an order kind of on the fly, but pretty much the bosses are number 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake Sephiroth, number 2, Kingdom Hearts 2 Sephiroth, funnily enough, and number 1, Final Fantasy 16 Titan. Funnily enough, with the Sephiroths, they are in my top list for very similar reasons. Let me start with Kingdom Hearts 2 Sephiroth. So I played that when I was a kid, and straight up, the memories I have when I was playing that as a kid is just like, it was a blur. Like the battle was so fast, like I just had to fucking be on my toes. It was like the hardest thing I had ever fought at that age, and like it felt so cinematic in a way, even though it really isn't a cinematic fight. With the movie starts with at the start where you kind of have to press triangle and react. That meteor move he does, that move where he rises in the air and just takes away all your life. There were just so many cool moments in the fight that I really appreciated. And what's funny is the Sephiroth battle in Final Fantasy VII Remake, I have the exact same vibes of it, but what makes it extra funny is I don't remember the fight at all, because if you've been watching my Let's Play, I mentioned many times in the Let's Play is I'm replaying the game, but I don't remember the original playthrough at all for whatever reason. I don't know why, but like there's so many key moments that I don't remember of the game, and Sephiroth's fight in Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of those things where I remember my feeling of it. I remember it being really fucking intense, very fast paced. Literally all I remember is an image of a blur of colors. That's all I remember, because I think there was an environment where there's kind of like floating colors around you and you're kind of in space or some shit. I think that's all I remember. I never went back to watch a gameplay of it either, and so like I'm kind of excited to get back to it in my Let's Play to see like what that fight was and why I was so hyped on it. I just thought it was funny that it's the same person, like I'm fighting Sephiroth in this and in Kingdom Hearts 2, and I had the exact same vibes of it just being a very quick, fast blur. If anyone's ever played Beat Saber on Expert, it kind of gives me the same vibes of that. If you're playing Beat Saber on Expert, you're just fucking going insane, trying to just barely survive. That's how I remember the Sephiroth fights in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, where like it just felt like I was always surviving by the skin of my teeth, and I was just like really trying hard to not die, and the experience was very memorable for me, obviously, because I don't really remember the plot of 7 Remake, but I remember the boss fight. Lastly, I want to talk about the Titan fight in Final Fantasy 16. The Titan fight is like such a good fight to me. It's the most cinematic fight I've ever experienced. The fact that you're using a Titan form of yourself and not Clive himself, and it works so well still. The fact that it's so fucking long. I think that the fight's entirety from human Clive to the end is probably like 30, maybe even 40 minutes. I'm not so sure. And so that fight, I just think, is a fantastic fight. I'm kind of maybe not talking about it too much because I kind of want to release a video about it. I have this video in the works that I kind of recorded a long time ago, but I've never gotten out, which I might be releasing, which is all about this fight, like a kind of in-depth entirety of the fight and kind of going through it. And so yeah, all I want to mention is it's cinematic. It has a lot of quick time events, which I'm a fan of. I know a lot of people don't like quick time events, but if you've experienced the quick time events in Kingdom Hearts games, you know how fucking cool they can be. I like that you get to use Ifrit. I like that you get to have different type of mechanics. There's like a part where you're kind of doing a shooting mechanic game in it, and the fact that like you just see such a large scope of the fight and it's cinematic the entire way through, and it's very fucking anime. The fight is so anime with what you do and how you get to kind of beat up Titan. But yeah, that's all I'll go into it. I don't want to go too in depth with this fight. Number 3 is 7 Remake Sephiroth. Number 2 is Kingdom Hearts 2 Sephiroth, and number 1 is Final Fantasy 16's Titan.